So, as it turns out, you guys really like MythBuster videos. So much so that 127,000 of you guys watched our first episode. So we're gonna kick the second episode off by answering that question from the start of our first video. Apparently, if you ask them to, 1,473 people will subscribe to you, and 56.5% of them will ignore you. So, to you 56.5% out there, you better subscribe now or else. Oh, and if you want your myth tested in the next video, leave a comment with your myth. So today's first myth is pretty simple. If you use the Krampus helmet as a minion upgrade and use a budget hopper, will it sell the gifts it produces? This is an interesting one, because red gifts cannot be sold to NPCs and have no value. Anyway, I'll put this upgrade in this minion, and I'll check back in on it later in the video. How many hits would it take to kill an Ender Dragon with your bare hands? Well, after the strength nerf, your bare hands do almost no damage, and currently, I only deal around 244 damage with all of my strongest gear. Let's assume we're fighting an old dragon, because they have the most health at 50 million. Therefore, if we divide 50 million by 244, we get 61,476 hits to kill an old dragon by hand. But the dragon has ender crystals that heal it constantly, meaning this probably wouldn't even be possible. Hey, wait a second, this isn't even a myth. This is a math question. Get out of here. Does the Void Gloom Seraph take water damage like normal Endermen? Well, there's no water on the end to test, but that doesn't stop us from using the aspect of the end to fly over to the nearby jungle and throw ender pearls to spawn Enderman. Except we can't do that, because ender pearls don't allow you to teleport across islands anymore. Instead, we can summon the boss on the main island and then fly over to the jungle area and wait for it to use its teleport ability and lure it into the water. Apparently, the Void Gloom doesn't take damage in water. He also seems to be really peaceful in water, rarely even doing damage to you and just kinda standing next to you and just looking at you. Pretty cool interaction, I kinda never expected this. Does the new Juju bow or Terminator bow increase its fire rate with attack speed? Yeah, it does actually. Like, way too good. This thing is way better than a bone meringue and works in dungeons too. Here is the bow without attack speed, and here is the bow with attack speed. Absolutely huge difference. Pretty cool, right? Seems like Archer is back in the meta. Does the aspect of the end teleport 12 blocks forward when upgraded twice with a transmission tuner? If you didn't know, the new transmission tuner is an item that adds 1 block to the teleport range of an aspect of the end or aspect of the void, up to 3 times. However, it's currently bugged and adds 2 blocks instead and maxes it out at 2. And yeah, it does teleport you 12 blocks forward instead of the expected 11. Neat little bug and or collectible item. Can you use Necron handles or glaciite handles to craft torches in the vanilla crafting menu? That's an interesting one. There's no real reason why you wouldn't be able to do this, but unlike Necron ladders, if you try to do this, then the crafting recipe just disappears from the menu. You can try quickly grabbing it, but if you succeed, then the items just lag back. This means we can't have a Necron's ladder, and we can't have Necron's torches. Why can't we have anything nice? Can the Stonk pickaxe break mithril or titanium when you use the Picobolus ability? The Stonk normally can't break the mithril because its breaking power is only that of a wooden or golden pickaxe. But the Picobolus ability throws your pickaxe and blows up an area of blocks around it. So does this ability take from your pickaxe stats? The answer is actually yes, it does take from your pickaxe. When you try it, a message pops up in chat telling you your Picobolus ability didn't destroy any blocks. It's almost as if the admins knew someone would try this. What happens if you put ender pearls into a personal deleter whilst you have an endermite pet? The endermite pet has an ability that deletes ender pearls when they enter your inventory, and the personal deleter also deletes items. So which takes priority? The endermite pet actually takes priority, giving you coins and deleting them. Did you know that that pet makes an eating noise when you pick up pearls? Delicious. The fancy sword sold by the gold forger cannot have its base enchants removed and can have conflicting enchantments. As far as I know, the fancy sword is the only sword in the game that you can buy already enchanted, and trying to remove any of its enchantments says it's successfully removed in the chat. But the enchantment is actually still on the sword, and does the same damage as it did before. What's even weirder is that if you then go to apply sharpness 1 after removing sharpness 2, the sword does less damage than it did after you removed the enchantment. Things get weirder when you try to apply a conflicting enchantment, like triple strike with first strike that's already on there. The enchantment table says it will remove first strike, but when you apply triple strike, it's actually the first strike enchantment that shows up in the blue text on the sword, and triple strike that shows up in grey text underneath, where first strike used to. Then dealing damage with the sword has the triple strike effect, but not the first strike effect. If you then go to your island and then come back to the lobby, both enchantments now show as grey text on the sword, and it does the damage of having both enchantments too. So yeah, this sword can have conflicting enchants, and you can't technically remove the enchantments that already come on it, and you can have a cursed sword with sharpness, Bane of Arthropods, and smite at the same time. Hey, let's check back on that Krampus minion. Did it produce anything interesting? As it turns out, no. That minion didn't produce any red gifts at all, and the enchanted hopper just has the normal amount you'd expect from a melee minion. If it did produce and sell anything, it would have likely just sold for 0 or 1 coins. Let's try with a Soulflow engine and come back again later. Now, here's a new section of the show I like to call Quick Busting. Name needs some rework. I'm gonna quickly go over some smaller myths you guys have as fast as I can that would otherwise not make it into a full video. Okay, 3, 2, 1. What if you recomb an item with no rarity? You get an error. Can you capture the soul of an M6 Midas? Yes, but higher level enemies are rarer to capture. A stack of Silver Fangs deals more damage than a single one. False. If you drop a Hyperion, you will be sad forever. What is the reward from Enderman Slayer level 9? If I told you, I'd have to kill you. You can capture giants in F6's souls and their size is the same. Wrong. They just show up as Phoenix skin NPCs. The Wither Bow does extra damage to Necron. It does. You can get a beacon from the new tier 4 Slayer bosses. Nope, you can't even break them. What happens when you put an FOT or Spirit Scepter in the Flower Pod by Ophelia? Nothing. You get it back if the servers feel generous. Could Technoblade have survived a hit from a Deathmite? I don't know how much damage a Deathmite does, but my guess is yes. Max out a wood sword and see what happens. You get a max wood sword. Did you expect much? If you're really that curious, then go watch Pelika's video about maxing out an aspect of the Jerry. That one is a wood sword. +1 crit damage now gives more bonus damage than +1 strength. Not true. They're both exactly the same now. That's quite a few silly myths. I'm exhausted. Let's check on our minion again and think about wrapping this video up. And as we can see, the Soulflow was just deleted. It wasn't sold or produced, and it has no NPC sell value. Bit of a sad note to end a video on. But thank you all very much for watching, and I'll see you in my next Pigical ripoff video. Have a good day.